Ready to do this?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Welcome back, everyone. Brett and I with you here today. Good afternoon. It's a Friday, almost the weekend for some. Is the weekend for me. Got a special treat for everybody today. We have Will Brown from the St. Augustine Record going to be on the show here in just a few minutes. We're going to shoot him a call and talk to him and get his insight, ask, him how his daily goes being a reporter for the Record, talk some local football with you guys. I've been wanting to dive into that for a couple of weeks, but haven't really had the verbiage on it, so bringing in somebody who can help us out with that because that's what he does for a living. And just learn a bit about Will and, throw some mainstream topics at him, possibly about some NFL, baseball, see any of that stuff. Looking forward to talking to him. Brett, you and him haven't even talked yet, so this will be cool.
Oh, yeah, for
you
sure.
You guys get to meet this way. He is a graduate from FAMU, soccer evangelist. He writes for the St. Augustine Record. You can find him on Twitter at www.brown19. I believe his Twitter handle is. So let's give him a call and talk to Will.
Hello?
Hey, Mr. Brown.
Speaking.
Yep, you're on with Roundtable Sport Talks here with Austin and Brett. How you doing today?
Very well, very well. How are you both?
Oh, we're good.
Yeah,
How about yourself?
I think we're pretty good. Just kind of give everybody a little bit of intro on you, which, I saw that you're a graduate from FAMU, and you obviously write for the Record. I think most people in town know who you are. You've been covering high school football for a while. So just going to kind of learn a bit about you. How long you been working for the Record, Mr. Brown?
Just under 5 years.
Okay, that's cool. How did I don't know how to ask it. How did you become, how did you get your job for the Record? Did you always want to be a journalist, or did something kind of steer you down that path?
Hold on, let me not sit down with the drum. Yes, I wanted to be a sports journalist since I was in high school, and Florida A&M had a journalism school, so that is why I went there.
Okay.
In addition to some family history there, and I got a degree in journalism from FAM and started out at the Tallahassee Democrat for a couple of years.
Okay.
And then moved out and worked at a newspaper in Texas I was at the Democrat for 4 years and worked at a newspaper in Texas for just under 2 years, and came back to Florida.
Oh, that's cool. You kind of bounced around and kind of got in a feel in different places. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Yes.
Are you originally from St. Augustine, or?
I am not. It is the running joke Coach Wiles and I always have. But I'm from Rockledge.
Okay.
So I went to Rockledge High School.
Okay, I got you. Yeah. I miss Coach Wiles. I haven't seen him in a long time since I played for him, about 4 or 5 years ago.
Yeah, he's over at Flagler doing some pretty big things and getting their athletic department up and cooking.
Yeah, if there's somebody that can do it, it's him, that's for sure. So what I have pulled up here today pretty much is just some St. Johns County High School football kind of playoff, looking ahead of the playoffs. And I have some just statistical leaders from around the area. And the thing that caught my eye, because I have a buddy that coaches JV for St. Augustine, and we were talking, and I didn't know till the other day that St. Augustine at 2-4 is still in a playoff spot.
Yes.
Yes,
they're very much
so surprising.
Yes, they are. They are, as long as they handle business, which they have a huge game against Ed White on October 12th. They have a bye this week, so that is probably going to be their biggest game of the season. They're undefeated in their district, 1-0 right now, but they have 3 district games upcoming against Ed White, against Nice, and then against Middleburg. The Ed White game will be at St. Augustine, and then the Nice game will be also at St. Augustine.
That's crucial.
Well, that's good to get those games at home. Yeah, it's been a long time around St. Augustine High School where we've had 4 losses in a season. I think it's back in the maybe late 90s since that's happened or something around there.
That would be 1998.
Okay, yep. So it's been a long time. It's definitely, as an alumni and everyone in the area who watches St. Aug ball, it's been a lot to cope with to kind of deal with that. But it's public schools. You kind of get what you get as far as kids, and you just got to coach them up the best you can. And I had Coach Braddock as a D coordinator when I was there, and I know he's probably one of the best coaches that I've ever seen coach the game. So he'll turn it all around.
I'm sure he will. Especially for them this year, they just got hit by a number of injuries, some completely fluke, some not football related, and they already didn't have a lot of numbers.
Yeah.
And then some kids decided for whatever reason to not play this year. So when you add all those together, I mean, you have problems.
For
and
sure.
I think of their quarterback situation. They thought they were going to have 2 kids, competing for the quarterback job, and then in the summer, one of them had to have Tommy John surgery, and then 2 games in, another one had to have his elbow put in a cast, or his whole throwing arm put in a cast because he was growing so fast. Then they put a freshman in who has plenty of talent and is going to be very good.
Yeah.
And then he came out with a knee injury.
Oh.
Yeah, I mean, because I know at one point in the last couple of games, I think they've started running the single wing again, or the wing T, one of the two, because they don't have anybody left to throw the football.
Right. And and when you combine the fact that all 3 of those quarterbacks had never started a varsity game before,
yes,
and then you're throwing them in the deep end against, teams like Menendez and Ponte Vedra and Bartram who want to beat the Yellow Jackets in the world's worst way, and
that's
never
every year, same way. It's those rivalries are great, and that's what makes keeping up with high school ball so important. Now, St. Augustine's getting one of those quarterbacks back next week, aren't they, or soon?
He should be coming back soon.
Okay.
Sammy Edwards, who started the year, he had his cast removed yesterday.
Okay.
So I don't know the current timetable, but obviously you can't play football with a cast on your arm. So
yeah.
That's the first step to getting back on the field, is getting the cast off.
Yeah. The only position I've ever seen do that is probably a defensive lineman, and that's just been a hand club.
Right. So it's not like they're gonna ever, Dr. Todd Northrup is never gonna clear anybody.
No. Yeah. Exactly.
With a cast.
So other than St. Aug, Bartram's obviously playing well. They're 4-2. Menendez is 5-1. Ponte Vedra's 5-1. Those teams. St. Johns County football is really doing well this year, and it's great. It's great to see.
It is. They are doing really well, and everyone, with the exception of St. Joe, who's undefeated currently.
Yeah,
everyone has an off week this week, so they're all resting up for what proved to be some pretty big games coming up on the horizon. Next week Bartram Trail hosts Fleming Island, and the Bears really, if they want to make sure that they're in the playoffs, they really need to win out.
Mm-hmm.
And then Menendez is facing Palatka, and Palatka is a resurgent team, and I think Palaka's 4-2.
Oh, are they?
Which
wow.
is so. They are on the come up, and of course, as we all know, the Panthers will be hosting St. Augustine in the final week of the regular season. So,
right.
Yellow Jacket fans might want to keep an eye on how the Panthers play Pedro next week.
Yeah, because that would be a good tell on how they're going to be.
Yes. And then, of course, there's St. Augustine playing Ed White, which I don't say this facetiously, but if St. Augustine loses any one of its next 3 district games, they will probably be home for the playoffs.
Yeah, it's tough when it's must wins for the next 3 or 4 weeks. I bet their practices are going to be pretty intense because Coach Braddock wants to get back to those playoffs bad.
Oh yes. But I think this bye week came at the perfect time for the Yellow Jackets, so they can physically rest up and mentally rest up and get prepared. Because if they have 4 games left, and if they win, if they beat Ed White, I mean, with Nice, I know they're trying, but they're winless right now. So, you would think, and this is no slight on Nice, but you would think that a team that is currently winless would not be able to beat a team that is trying to keep up a 20-year playoff streak.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And frankly, if you lose to a team that has no wins, you don't deserve to be in the playoffs.
Exactly. Yeah, that's true too. I mean, trust me, when I heard that they were 2-4, I was like, okay, this is the first season. The Jackets won't be in the playoffs. And like, oh no, they still have a chance. They just pretty much have to win out. And it's you don't see that too often, I don't think. So they're in a they're in a bad spot because they're 2-4, but they're also in kind of a lucky spot with how this season's gone. Because
that's true.
They could be 2-4 and just completely already written off, but they're still alive, and that's all that matters.
And so, as if nothing else, it's a lot of growing pains. And I just have a hunch. I think the players and the coaches have too much pride to let the 100th year of St. Augustine High School football in the regular season.
Mm-hmm. I know Coach Braddock has too much pride. That's for sure, and I do know that. So yeah, it'll be fun to keep up with and see. I hope they get it done. I really do. Now, is Menendez already pretty much a lock for playoffs, being 5-1, or do they still have some loose ends to tie up?
They do. They still have some loose ends to tie up because their one is the district loss to Baker County, and so in the current playoff format, only district champions are guaranteed a path to the playoffs in each region. So they're in the region that Menendez is in, Region 2, 5A. There are 8 teams that make the playoffs. There are 4 districts. So the 4 district champions make it, and then 4 wild card teams. Now Menendez is in very good shape to get one of those wild card berths. However, it's always better to keep your fate in your own hands where possible. So if the Falcons continue to win, then they'll be in the playoffs. But any losses, and they really don't have any cupcakes coming down the stretch, means that they might have to sweat a little bit more than they would like.
Okay, and then I think I looked this up right. Isn't it? It's Brooksville that's leading that region, correct?
It's the team that is leading that region is Brooksville Nature Coast Tech.
Yep. Okay, that's what I thought. Yep. So and they're 4-1, so they've actually played one less game. So I wonder why that is, because Menendez 5-1. But
they have a point system now.
They did do the point system like a year or two ago. They switched, I believe.
Correct.
I forgot about that.
They do that because sometimes essentially the state was tired of teams that were, just because you happen to be in the right district, being 2-8 and getting in the playoffs, and being in the wrong district and being 8-2 and watching the playoffs. So they obviously rewarded district champions, but the point system, the long and short of it is, if you beat good teams, you'll be in the playoffs. If you consistently beat good teams, you'll be in the playoffs. If you beat up on bad teams, then you may make it, but you probably need to be 8-2, 9-1, 10-0 to secure your spot.
Well, I mean that makes sense, because that's kind of how college does their whole ranking deal, off of strength of schedule and strength of opponent, pretty much. I mean, you can be undefeated and play nobody and not, get into the final playoff. So I mean that's a decent system. It's probably the most fair.
And I guess a good example is if you look at Bartram Trail and you look at Creekside, they both have 4-2 records. They both have 1 district loss, but Bartram Trail has 39 points and Creekside has 35.67 points. And the reason for that is Bartram has played better teams.
Okay.
Gotcha.
All right. Yeah, well, I mean, that makes sense then. That's, like I said, probably the most fair way to do a high school football playoff bracket. Yeah, because, every year there's those teams that they just, they're in locations that doesn't, get a lot of kids, or they have competing county schools where kids rather go, and, you don't get the amount of talent that comes up through the public school system. So some teams are always at a disadvantage, rather than some of the teams that, have a little bit more power to pull kids to them, like some of bowls and places like that, the bigger, juggernauts of Florida.
And one of the beauties of this system is that for the 4 smaller classifications, there are no more districts. So that means you can schedule anyone you want. But the downside to that is if you schedule a bunch of scrubs, and you beat them, well, you're not guaranteed a spot in the playoffs.
Yeah, you're not going to get any credit for that.
Right. Or if you schedule a whole bunch of tough teams and lose to them, or play them, and you still have to go out and win games.
Exactly. Yeah.
It's a good strategy to do that.
And unlike college, they do not include the score in the calculations. It's only whether you won or lost. It doesn't matter if you won by 1. It doesn't matter if you won by 41.
Mm-hmm.
True.
Which is good. I like that because, that just keeps up with the whole a win's a win type, mindset rather than, we have to blow these guys out by 40, so that's good that they don't take that into consideration.
And I agree. It really is because it allows you to not rub it in against somebody who is clearly inferior.
Exactly. And in high school you really shouldn't. You got to think about these are kids. A lot of them are playing the game for the first time, trying to learn, get better each week. So you don't need teams out there just completely trying to run scores up on each other to hope it gets them to a higher ranking or points, whatever you want to call it.
Right. That's not what high school sports is all about. 90% of the people who are playing high school sports are not going to go to the next level as athletes. So, we shouldn't be encouraging people to, let's go, we got to go beat this team by 60 tonight.
Yeah, no, because high school sports in general, any of them, they're learning experiences. They shape you as a young adult. They teach you discipline, and that's what you're really there for. If you're lucky enough to be athletic and blessed enough to go on to the next level, then that's great. But like you said, 90% are not going to have that opportunity.
So, especially and if you're not the right size too, like you could have that's not a problem at St. Augustine High School, but St. Augustine High School's had a number of really wonderful athletes, but some of them just haven't had the measurables.
Yeah, that's true too.
Yeah, it is.
So, all right, Mr. Brown, well, we appreciate that. Like I said, we've been wanting to dive into high school football on the show for a couple of weeks now, but haven't had really the knowledge to do that. So we really appreciate you coming on today. It was fun. One more quick thing before you go. I wanted to ask you this just personally, since from the pro level of like NFL and stuff like that, I just like to know your preferences of like what your favorite pro teams are, since you've kind of been around to Texas and Tallahassee, places like that.
I'm sorry. I grew up following the Jags, and then the older I got and the more I became like a sports journalist, I didn't really have an NFL team. I was like, okay, I'll sit and watch a game and see what's what. So that is pretty much the team I followed throughout but mostly, living in North Florida that's the team I followed for a few years.
Yeah, as most people. Myself, I've always been. I don't know how it happened because I've grown up here also. But when I was little, I really fell in love with like Eddie George and Steve McNair. So I've been a Titan fan my entire life. It's crazy. Everybody rags me for it, but I have.
Yeah, well.
I met Eddie George once at a college bowl game not too long ago, and he's even in retirement. He's a very large man.
Yeah, he's huge. That's so awesome.
I could understand people making business decisions trying to tackle him like,
For real.
I'm good.
Yeah. Yeah, he was a massive man. He was massive, so. All right, well, like I said, we appreciate you being on.
Yeah,
that was fun. We'll have to get you on again. I understand also, we talked about this, that you have a podcast too.
I do. I have not had an episode in a couple weeks, but it is the With Will podcast.
Okay. So if you guys are listening and you follow us and like us, also go look up Will's and give his a listen also. You're on iTunes and like the iPodcast, right?
Yes, I am on iTunes and Google Play. Since there's so many Wills out there, just look for like Twitter handle or like various social media handles at WWBrown19, and then you'll see a picture of a cheesy guy wearing a blue shirt and red tie, and that will be me.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you, Will, so much. We appreciate it. And we'll get with you later on, see if we can bring you on again in a few weeks and talk some more high school football.
I certainly appreciate it. Thanks so much for having me, guys.
You have a good one.
Have a good one.
You too.
All right, bye-bye. All right, everybody. That was Will Brown from the St. Augustine Record, sports journalist, very knowledgeable on high school football and the way everything works. Because I completely forgot they went to a point system.
Yeah, I remember
2-3 years ago.
Yeah, it was.
So call me dumb for that. But that was good. That was a good talk. I like Will. He's really knowledgeable, like I said.
He's a good guy.
So, all right, now
Pro
we
sports.
went local. We're going to dig into our mainstream pro sports. Brett, you want to start us off with the MLB postseason wildcard games and the divisional series that have been started off this weekend?
Yep. Last show we talked about the wild card and the playoff scenario with the tiebreakers. You know, the weird, the 5-way tiebreakers. So basically, what it came down to is the Rockies played the Cubs for the NL wild card, which the Rockies won 2-1. It went 13 innings. I watched it all night. I was like up to like almost 1:30.
Yeah, everyone was complaining about how long that game went, but
It was very long.
The same people. Sorry, not to cut you
You're
off,
good.
but
Go ahead.
the same people that were crying about how long that game was were also the people saying, "Oh, we need 3-game series for the wild card round.
No,
I want to see more baseball. It shouldn't just be one game." And then your Cubs team gets extra innings to win, and they still can't. So,
and you got to figure they've just came off a 182 game season. So,
and they also won. Didn't the Cubs win like almost 100 games?
I don't know. I don't remember the record, but
They had one of the best records in the league. And
But basically,
they were playoffs for one day.
They were clinched for the NL Central. That tiebreaker bumped them down to the wild card, and the Brewers ended up clinching that that division.
Yeah, the Brewers ended up winning the.
So and then the Rockies won, so they got fight for the wild card. But basically, it was 2-1. It was an interesting game. Now
I didn't watch that at all. So
the AL side, the Yankees, like the AL was already set. You know, the wild card was the Yankees and the A's. Yankees ended up winning by a large margin.
Wasn't it like 13 to.
It was 7. It was 7-2.
Oh, 7-2. Okay.
Yankees looked pretty good. Giancarlo Stanton his bat was hot. Aaron Judge's bat was hot.
Aaron Judge's bat has been hot since he come into the league, I think.
Yeah, but Yankees were off and on. So, but that was the wild card. So now they move on. The Yankees are playing the Red Sox, which renews a rivalry.
I think that's the first time I think it's like the first time in 14 years they're going to see each other in the. I don't know if it's the playoffs. I think it's the divisional series. It's the first time they've seen each other in 14 years. It could be playoffs in general. I'm not sure, but everyone is real stoked for that. I guess
it's a huge series.
It's just some like nostalgia, if you're, really into baseball and you love seeing the Sox and Yankees play each other.
This is the reason why I don't watch all 182 games, because I want to see what it comes down to when playoffs starts. Because now it's really interesting. That series is going to be interesting. Yeah. It starts today.
I don't watch 182 games because I don't have that type of time in my life.
Well, you got to figure they play 4 games a week. They play the same team in a 4-game series.
Most times, yeah.
So they're playing baseball every single week.
Yeah, I mean, they have.
And
that's why I've always been pro, like, dwindle their crap down to, like, 120 games and then make that wild card round more games.
Right.
And
so
you have to worry about players. I mean, I don't know. You know how the NFL in basketball you hear all the time about fatigue and how many games they play. I don't know if you ever hear about that in baseball.
Well, you got to figure their pitching rotation is deep. So
pitchers play like once every 2 weeks.
Yeah, because they're on a pitch count. And then your general infield and outfield players mostly play. They rotate in and out, so they're not like playing all 182 games.
Yeah.
So the divisional series for the NL has already started. The Brewers won. I think it was last night or the night before. The Brewers won against.
Yeah, they won 3-2
against the Rockies. Yeah, 3-2.
That one went 10 innings, so that was extra
innings.
And
it was a walk-off single by Mostauskas.
Yeah, he had a walk-off single. I think it was like Yelich. His name's Yelich or Yelich. I don't know how you pronounce it. I think he ended up like scoring that last round because he walked to lead the inning off, and then it was hit in at some point with a single. So
and then the Dodgers played last night against the Braves. The Dodgers
blew them out.
Yeah, I don't know what Atlanta's problem is, but
pitching. It looked like pitching.
The pitching was the issue. Their bats were not hot.
Their pitcher gave it was his name's, they call him Fulte or whatever. I don't know his whole because he's got like a weird last name, but I think he gave up 4 runs in the first 2 innings. Because in that Braves game they didn't have one pitcher who pitched over 2 innings.
No, it was 2.
It was like 2-2, 1-1-1, and like some guys just pitched for a couple outs. So,
But for today's slate of games, all four games are playing. So you have the ALDS game 1, the Indians against the Astros.
Yeah, I think that one comes on at like 2.
It's 2:05, so
got it.
like the next hour. Looks like Corey Kluber is going to start for Cleveland, which is a good matchup
Against Verlander, right?
It's a huge matchup.
Yeah, I have it right here, actually. Kluber's 20-7 on the year with a 2.89 ERA, and Verlander's 16-9 with a 2.52 ERA. So
now this will prove Verlander of how promising he's going to be for the Astros since coming over from Detroit.
Yeah, see, I had an article pulled up earlier. I guess it says Indians and Astros will turn to tried and true aces, because these guys obviously been around for a while,
Yeah.
to gain early edge in the series. It says between Kluber and Verlander, they've combined for 16 200-inning and 13 200 strikeout seasons between the two of them, 10 All-Star appearances between the two of them, 3 Cy Young Awards, 2 ERA titles, and then Verlander added a Rookie of the Year and MVP award and a Triple Crown. So between those two guys, there's a lot of hardware. So it's going to be a freaking showdown, I hope.
I hope so. I hope at least both of them pitch till the 7th inning, because we don't see many pitchers play all 9 or all 8 innings.
Especially I think the Braves, like we were talking a minute ago in that last series, they went through 6 pitchers.
Yeah, they can't do that.
I think that was the most of anyone that played. I think the Brewers went through 4.
Most pitchers pitch, if they're struggling, you're going to see them get out at like the 3rd inning.
Yeah, I mean, if especially in the playoffs, it's such important. You don't want a guy who's been like, you get to the 7th inning and he's playing okay, gave up a run or two, but if you can tell he's getting fatigued or his arm's starting to wear out, you obviously bring in a relief.
Yeah.
But that's just baseball. But when you have 2 big leaguers like this that are, at the top of what they do, and they're dealing, you're just going to let them deal.
Oh, for sure.
Because some of these pitchers, it takes an inning or two to get going,
Especially the first game of the series.
Yeah, they got to feel it. I don't know where that game's being played.
It's in Houston.
It's in Houston? Okay. So that'll be a good one. And then what are the other pitching matchups that are coming up for the rest?
So the other end of the AL, Yankees and Red Sox play at 7. Looks like J.A. Happ is starting for New York. Mm-hmm. And Chris Sale's pitching for Boston. Now, I want to go over Chris Sale because I was watching ESPN, I think it was yesterday, and they were saying that, in order for Sale to be good for Boston, he needs to be up at 98 miles an hour on his fastball. Mm-hmm. He's been averaging 94, so that's become a problem for Boston.
Yeah, that's a low fastball.
That is a low fastball. Now, that's going to be crucial in this first game, especially it's in Boston. Mm-hmm. So they said he needs to be at least at 98 miles an hour in order for Boston to have the advantage in the first start of the game.
I mean, if he hasn't been pitching where you want, like how you want him to pitch, I don't know why you'd start him.
Now I don't know what the average is basing, like whether it was last month, or the whole, the whole season. But I
mean, he's got to pitch against some.
He's gonna have to deal. He's dealing with a lot of hitters.
Which right now it's showing he only has a 2.1 ERA, where the Happ, New York's pitcher, he's got a 3.6 ERA. So
he has the advantage over the
Sale's 12-4 and Happ 17-6 through the season. So both guys winning a lot, winning most of their starts. So, and the Yankees The Yankees won over 100 games, didn't they?
I believe so.
It was like the Yankees, the Sox, and I think there was one more team that won over 100.
It could have been Chicago.
I'm not sure who. It might have been Houston. I'm not sure. But
Cleveland.
I guess through all of this, because like I said, I don't keep up with baseball a whole lot. Playoffs, I try and pay attention. Mm-hmm. And now, I really try to, so we have, more content to talk about here. And I think me and JP were talking about this the other day, is I don't really have a team.
I'm a Braves fan.
Yeah, which a lot of local people are because they're close. I know a lot of people that are Cubs fans because they won it 2-3 years ago, and that's why you're a Cubs fan.
Yeah. I also follow the Giants, San Francisco.
Yeah, you were talking about that. I guess from when I was little, a lot of my preferences in sports are when I was little. Mm-hmm. Because when I'm little, you play video games and you play with a certain team all the time. And that's who you fall in love with. Mm-hmm. So mine was, I did like the Cubs when I was little because of Sammy Sosa. Mm-hmm. But since then, I could care less. I remember when all the drama was going on when the Yankees and Boston played last time and they came back from a 3-0 deficit and won the World Series. And I think I just kind of fell in love with Big Papi Manny Ramirez, Jason Varitek, Coco Crisp, all those guys from back in the day at Boston. Mm-hmm. So I guess if there's a team I'm going to root for in these playoffs, and I guess it might be cliche to say, but I'm going to root for Boston, I guess.
Okay. Now another game, the NLDS, they're playing their game 2s today. It's interesting how it's going to be four games this whole day, So it's a lot of baseball.
That's a lot of baseball in one day. You're talking about 4 games a week. Them guys are playing, and you want me to watch that? This is going to be hard to watch 4 in one day.
So the Rockies and Brewers play at 4. Looks like Kyle Anderson is going to pitch for Colorado, and Chackin, I guess, is going to start from Milwaukee. I'm not too interested in that series. Now, as me following the Braves and them going on, I think I'd rather see them play against Colorado. Mm-hmm. Just because
Colorado's starting a pitcher who's 7-9 with almost a 5 ERA tonight.
So I think the Braves will have the advantage if they move on and they play the Rockies because the Brewers are hot,
Well, yeah, I mean they just, and it's kind of, we talk about this in every other playoff system also, other than basketball, because basketball 1 seeds don't get a bye or anything.
No.
But in the NFL, like the teams that get a bye, and then they come into that divisional series the next week playing the wild card team, everyone's like, well, that wild card team just won last week, so they might be on a little bit of a roll.
Yeah, exactly.
So I feel like the MLB playoffs could be the same way. Like you had to go earn your spot into the final 8 and play a game that went 13, went 10 innings, whatever it did.
Yeah.
And now you're moved on, and you're like, okay, we're ready to roll now. So
yeah,
could be a little bit of upper hand already of playing a game, as long as they didn't play their ace, because now obviously your ace isn't gonna pitch game 1 of this. So
now the most interesting game today that's gonna be besides the Yankees and Sox, it's gonna be the Braves and Dodgers. Now the way the 5-game series works is they play 2 at home, 2 away, and I think it's 2, 1, 1, and 1. I'm not sure. I'll have to look that up. But right now they're playing their second game in LA. They're dealing.
Well, who?
Do what now?
Well, where was game 1 of that at?
It's in LA.
It was in LA game 1,
and it's in LA again today.
Okay, yeah. So I mean, 2-1-1-1 wouldn't be bad, but 2-2-1 would be the most fair.
Yeah, but who would get that 1?
The higher seed.
True. Okay.
Just like any other.
We'll have to look that up in a second. But the Braves are going to deal Anibal Sanchez, which is probably one of their best starting pitchers, I think. Yep. Which is good. But now on the other side, Clayton Kershaw is going to pitch for the Dodgers.
He's got to be getting old, though, isn't he?
Kershaw? No.
Kershaw hasn't been playing that long.
I think he's
been
playing
Kershaw's
long,
been around forever.
He's still. Now he was coming. I think he was coming off an injury from last season.
Really?
So it was kind of iffy on the rocks, but it was interesting to see the Dodgers not start Kershaw on the first game and then play. I think his name is Rue, who he pitched for the first game. This game is going to be crucial for Atlanta to win. Going back home, you do not want to go back home down 0-2.
Yeah, no.
Because if they win the third game, that's it.
Well, that's probably why the Dodgers decided to keep Kershaw for second, because you're like, if we can pull out game 1, then we put our ace in for game 2, and that should be a wrap.
Which I don't know who their third pitcher is in rotation for the Dodgers, but
I'm not sure. I couldn't tell you. I know Anibal and Kershaw's ERAs are pretty similar, and they both haven't started that many games this year. 9-5 and 7-6.
Yeah.
So
Braves need to come up with them bats, man. I don't think one player hit over 1 hit. That's a problem.
Yeah, well, yeah, in that game, actually, I think I looked it up. I think the Braves had 6 hits, but the Dodgers only had 5, I believe. But 2 of their hits were home runs. Because we actually didn't even.
Yeah.
I forgot to say who even hit that.
I think they'll be fine. I think they'll be fine with pitching. But they need to get them bats going. Mm-hmm. Otherwise, they're going to get eaten up. So.
Which I think it was Max Manussi that hit that 3-run shot for the Dodgers. So they got to contain him.
Agreed.
But I might try and watch one game today or tonight. I'm not going to watch the Braves and all of them.
I'm going to watch the Braves and Dodgers.
That one's at what time tonight? 9:30?
Yeah, it's a late one. Prime
Holy
time.
Crap.
And then the Yankees and Sox play at 7.
Prime time 9:30, and my prime time is about 7:15.
So it looks like you're going to watch the Yankees and Sox.
Right. All right, so that's your MLB postseason. Play a little catch up and look ahead to all those games are today. I think.
Yep, all 4.
Yeah, so we will talk a little bit more about that. We'll try and hit some on, I guess, if we do a recap show on Tuesday, which they're probably going to play some more games by then. So we'll be a little behind, but that's fine. We will jump to NFL topics and news now. Game last night, Colts and Patriots. First time they've played since the 2014 AFC title game when the whole Deflategate started. So maybe Brady had a little bit of a chip on his shoulder for that game. He played very well. He went let me pull it up.
I got it right here. 34 for 44, threw for 341 yards, had three touchdowns, remember, because he hit that 500 mark.
Yep.
Good for him.
He threw his 500 touchdowns to Josh Gordon.
That was a nice pass.
It wasn't that. I mean.
No? I thought it was beautiful.
If those DBs were like a Jalen Ramsey or Boye or Slay or anybody like that, they're probably going to pick that ball off because he just kind of launched it. I mean, it was a great play by Josh Gordon because you could tell he kind of came back to the ball.
Mm-hmm.
But regardless,
because he toppled over them defenders to get that ball.
Well, and that's also, Brady knows he's got a big wideout now. He hasn't had a big wideout since Randy Moss. I mean, Dorsett's kind of big, but he's just not a playmaker.
Josh Gordon's like an on and off player. Especially the few games he played with Cleveland.
Yeah. Well, we do know that New England is the franchise that takes in the troubled souls and
makes them angels.
Either boots them in 2 weeks or turns them into superstars.
Which, going back on Brady, he did have a rushing touchdown too. The little
4-yard
over the goal line.
Yeah, a little sneak. So
I tell you what, they did not waste time putting Edelman back in that game. They were just constantly feeding him in the middle.
He was the leading receiver was James White with 77 yards, their running back.
Yeah, 10 receptions.
With a TD. Gronk went 6 for 75, Edelman 7 for 57, Josh Gordon only had 2 for 50. So in 2 games with the Pats, Josh Gordon has 4 catches for probably getting close to 100 yards, and then the 1 TD. He had 4 targets. Chris Hogan only caught 3 balls, Dorsett 3, and Sony Michel 1, Cordell Patterson 2.
I think you'll start to see Chris Hogan starting to fade away, and I think you'll see Dorsett starting, not get much playing time, especially with Edelman back.
If you look at the stat sheet right here, 2 weeks ago they had Gronk, Hogan. That was it. Sony Michel hadn't played yet. Cordell Patterson was crap. Philip Dorsett hadn't done anything. Now I'm looking at the stat sheet. You have Gronk, Edelman, Gordon, Hogan, Dorsett, Michel, Patterson.
They got a deep wide receiver.
This is like the most. Yeah, I'm not going to say loaded because none of these guys are great other than Gronk. But this is a very deep slate of team to throw to. What?
You only think Gronk is good on that team?
No, I said great.
Great?
Yeah, great. Edelman's not great. Edelman's good.
Excuse me?
He's not great.
Oh, he is great. Are you kidding?
Edelman is just
he plays in the front of the field beautifully.
Well, that's fine. He fits in there, but so did Wes Welker. Wes Welker wasn't great.
Okay. But still, don't tell me tell me Edelman is not great.
He's a baller and he's good and he's probably
he's great.
When he's healthy, he's probably a top 10 wideout in the league. But the only great wideouts in the league right now are Julio Jones, AJ Green.
Oh, excuse me?
Antonio Brown.
No. You better go back. Antonio Brown's 2.
And that's probably the 3 only great receivers in this league that I can think of off the top of my head.
Wow.
Yeah.
Are you kidding?
Everyone else is good.
Antonio Brown, a 3? 3 in the top 10? No.
Antonio Brown's like the best wideout in the league.
You just said Julio Jones was the best wideout.
I'm just giving you my 3 that are great.
Okay. But in order?
No, that wasn't any order.
Okay.
If I had to go in order, if I had to personally go in order, I'd go Julio, Antonio.
Thank you.
And then who else I just said?
AJ Green.
AJ, which AJ has like the best talent, but he doesn't always produce. But if you say, hey, who do you want to throw a ball up to from 25 yards in the end zone and come down with it?
Julio Jones.
And AB and Julio are taken, I'm going to be like AJ Green.
Okay. So okay. You should have said it from the start. It's not in order because
it wasn't in order. I was just naming it on top of my head. Julio Jones has been the best wideout in this league for like 4 years.
Problem is Julio doesn't have the.
The problem is they don't have any other threats to help him not be doubled every single play of his life. Now that Devontae Freeman's dead.
But going back on that game,
the Pats. Listen, I was watching. I don't know what it was this morning. And they were like, "Did the Patriots finally? Are they back? Are they the Patriots? They're the best team in the league again."
They have a healthy team right now.
You just gave up 24 points to the Colts with 9 minutes to go before Brady threw that 500 touchdown pass. They were up 24-17 with 9 minutes to go in the fourth quarter over an Indianapolis team who doesn't have a defense, hasn't had a defense in 10 years.
And lost a lot of defensive players last night.
Yeah, and then there was no – T.Y. didn't play.
Yeah.
Andrew Luck threw the ball 59 times because they don't have a running back. They're not even trying to hide the fact that they don't have a running game.
Yeah, they don't.
Like, do they even have a rushing category? Oh, they actually did run the ball 21 times.
Well, yeah.
For a total of
– Who was the rush?
Like 80 yards.
Who's that rushing?
Naheem Hines and Jordan Wilkins.
Okay.
So that's 60 attempts. That's Drew Brees type numbers. He did go 38, 59, 365, 3 TDs, and 2 picks. So Andrew Luck, played as well as he could.
He's playing good.
Yeah, I mean Andrew Luck's.
He's looked better.
Listen, if Andrew Luck had a wideout or a running back,
the Colts would be
and wouldn't have had that whole shoulder problem, he would have probably won a Super Bowl by now.
Agreed.
So their leading receiver last night, which it hurts me deeply because I played against him in fantasy, was their tight end Eric Ebron, 9 catches, 105 yards, 2 TDs.
And Chester Rogers was pretty good too.
Whoever that is.
You know who Chester? I think.
Nope.
Didn't Chester Rogers play for Green Bay at one point? I have a feeling he did.
I'm not sure. The only person I know on this entire receiving list they have is Eric Ebron and Robert Turbin. And he didn't.
Oh, they still have Turbin?
Yeah, he got 1 target. So anyway, New England won by 14.
Which is sad because New England should have wiped the floor with
the fact
Colts.
they put up 38 is nice, but the fact they gave up 20, because they went up 21-3 or 21-7, didn't they?
Yeah,
something like that. And then
at the half, it was like okay, New England's definitely going to win. And
halftime was 24-3.
I don't know. It's like a Kansas City situation. Kansas City's good; they can put up the numbers, but their defense is not so good.
Well, if we want to dive into that, everyone knows Jacksonville plays KC this week. KC 4-0, Jags 3-1. Jags number 1 offense in the league. Jags number 1 defense in the league. KC number 1 offense in the league. Jags are first on defense and yards allowed, points allowed, this and that and that and this. Chiefs are first in points, yards, passing, rushing, that and that and this and this. So it's going to be a showdown. I find it funny when a lot of Jags fans who are so high on their own team's bandwagon finally come down and are like, "Yeah, we're probably not going to win this game." It's like, whoa, wait a minute. Your boat, Blake Bortles, that you're in love with last week when he beat the crap out of the Jets. He's the greatest quarterback in the league, and now this week you're like, well, the Chiefs are pretty good. They're pretty good.
Chiefs are great.
The Chiefs also give up 27 points a game. Jacksonville can go in there, no doubt in my mind, and win this football game. Do they? I don't know. I don't
think they're going to put up a lot of points, though.
But
that's my fear.
Every time we see a great defense and a great offense play, the great defense always wins.
Okay.
Granted, the Jags team does not have an interception this year, and I don't even know if they have a fumble recovery this year. I don't know what they have. They probably have 1 or 2. But they haven't given up a touchdown on an opening drive and, I don't know, a crap load of games.
But they're facing a good quarterback.
Patrick Mahomes, yes, he is probably one of the best young quarterbacks we've ever seen have a start to a season. I was talking to JP when I walked in here. He also saw that KC has started 4-0 or better in their last 17, 18 seasons 9 or 10 times and haven't won a playoff game.
Which is weird because Alex Smith is a good quarterback who also had the same, offensive roster.
Yeah, well, it's Andy Reid.
Is it?
It's Andy Reid. I mean, you can go back to his days in Philly. The Eagles with McNabb and T.O. and Westbrook, what was his name, right? The running back. They all were great. And they came out and they played great every year. They won the games. They'd go, 10-6, 11-5, 12-4, whatever they want to do. And then they get to the playoffs. And they had the one season when they made the run to the Super Bowl. Mm-hmm. But other than that, tell me one big game Andy Reid has won. Andy Reid is like the Peyton Manning of coaching. He can get you there to the playoffs, but when you get in there, it's like he yeah. So it's obviously not the talent. It's never the talent. It's just Andy Reid. Can he? Every year he outsmarts other coaches. His players are better. They play more efficient. But AJ Boye hasn't given up a passing touchdown since week 14 or something of last year. In the regular season, I think in the playoffs he did, but
who do you think Jalen's going to shadow?
I don't know. Everyone knows Jalen's talking crap to Tyreek Hill. I wouldn't talk crap to the fastest guy in this league.
He's fast.
When you're already on a bum ankle, Jalen, and you got burnt last week and the week before. So, I don't know. Jalen, like I said this before, and we've seen it when they week 1 against the Giants. Jalen bodies guys.
He does.
Jalen wants to cover a big wide out so he can be physical, not get flagged, and jump up for the ball.
Mm-hmm.
Jalen does not like chasing little dudes across the middle.
And that's what Tyreek is.
Well, that's what your linebackers are for. That's why Telvin Smith runs like a 4.4 40, so he can keep up with these little guys or try to. I think they're going to get to Mahomes. That defense is going to be falling around his feet all day.
Yeah, I think he'll get.
The only thing that's going to scare me is Andy Reid knows Jacksonville can do that, and he's a smart coach. So he's going to gimmick and make plays to where hopefully, he can help out Mahomes. JP thinks Casey's just going to blow him out the water. I think he's like 30-something to 10 or 14. I'm not sure.
Deep down, I think the Jags have a chance. But
yeah, whenever you have a great defense, every game could be decided by 3 to 7 points.
It's a definitely small window. I can tell you that.
The only downside I have is that it's in KC. If it was in Jacksonville, I'd see them having a shot.
Downside?
Huh?
Is that your only downside?
The only like disadvantage I see Jacksonville having, because it's like, okay, advantage KC, great offense. Advantage Jacksonville, great defense. So that washes each other. Jags special teams has been okay this year. I'm not sure about KC's. Tyreek Hill's probably fielding punts, I'm sure.
Oh, for sure.
Jacksonville's kicker is solid, so they can kick. They'll be able to kick field goals all day long, late if they need them.
Jacksonville's missing that running back. TJ, you can't tell
me.
TJ.
Well, okay,
Hill.
Yes, Fournette's out. I am starting to be torn between if he's better without Fournette, because what was it, week 2 against New England, Fournette didn't play, and he balled out, and they beat New England. Then week 3, Fournette didn't play, and Tennessee beat him. And then last week, Fournette played for like half a quarter, and Blake played very well. So I don't know if it's going to keep going back. If it's going to go off of that, then Fournette's not going to play. Blake's going to look terrible, and they're going to get blown out. I don't know.
Which it surprises me. Yeldon's averaging 4 yards a carry. Can you believe that?
Yeah, I don't know how many carries he's getting a game. Which he's not a bad running back. He's just not big, And Jacksonville is a power run team. If TJ Yeldon played in KC or Philly or Detroit, these teams that throw, or New England where they throw the ball to their back 10, 11 times a game, TJ would probably be a top player. But he plays in Jacksonville where they're going to line up in the eye or the pistol and they're going to hand it to him and ask him to run straight. And he's not slippery,
Yeah.
He's not like a Tyreek Hill, a Deion Lewis, a Darren Sproles. He's not going to slip away from you. He's kind of like a one cut and go type of guy. So we'll see. If I had to make a prediction for that game in Kansas City, Kansas City is averaging like 30 a game. Jacksonville's going to cut that down at least a quarter. They're not going to cut it in half. I can see KC scoring 21, which I always say if you can score 21, you can beat Jacksonville. So I could see a 21-14 game, 21-17 game.
That's so weird. I was about to say my prediction was 21-14.
Yeah. If Jacksonville, if the Chiefs jump on them, Blake Bortles is going to wet the bed, because I don't know. I actually was supposed to look this up. If Blake Bortles has a come from behind win in his career, because every time they get down, he seems to just play very bad.
The team plays very bad,
and that too. I mean, you got to understand, Doug Marrone's a good coach. I get that. He's kind of whipped this team in the right direction.
But you also.
But Tom Coughlin's up there calling.
Yeah, I was about to say Tom Coughlin is the one who's turning this team around.
So, how much does Doug Marrone have in his back pocket if they come out and they're down?
He's going up against a good coach.
Yeah.
They're going to have to.
Well, yeah, Andy Reid's one of the greatest coaches in history, regardless of not having a Super Bowl. But, I mean, what's going to happen if they're down 14-0, mid-second quarter? Do they have the ability? Because, like I said, Jacksonville
they play better on the road.
Well, they do play good on the road, but they play possession football. Jacksonville wants to take it, go 11 plays, 80 yards, 8 minutes. But if you're down by 14 and, you got to – can they go 5 plays in 2 minutes and score a touchdown and go 65 yards? I don't think so.
I think they can. I think this team has turned around from the year before. I think slowly Blake is learning how to handle pressure.
Yeah.
Now, granted, they don't have a good wide receiving core. I mean,
well, Moncrief's been better than I thought, and
Moncrief
D.D.
Campbell.
Westbrook has exploded onto the scene. Keelan Cole's done nothing since week 2.
I'm really shocked that they're not. Keelan Cole was probably the most promising wide receiver this season for Jacksonville.
Well, we got to understand, too, it's still early in the year. They've only played 4 games.
Granted, yes.
But, yeah, I do, we all had all this hope for Keelan after the New England game, and then I just don't know where he's been. Like, I'm a Tennessee fan, and Keelan Cole could have probably tore us up and didn't.
Yeah, it was definitely.
I did pull this up. So it seems that Blake has 6 fourth-quarter comebacks and 7 game-winning drives. This is on Pro Football Reference, which I use a lot. So in 2014, which is his rookie year, I think, he beat the Giants 25-24. It doesn't say what he was down by at any point. But
well, let's just. I mean,
but then it says in 2015 he had 4. I guess he came back and beat Miami, came back beat Buffalo, came back beat Baltimore, came back beating Tennessee.
Come on now.
16, he only had 1 year when they barely beat Chicago, or 1 game. They beat Chicago 17-16 in 2016, and then last year they beat the Chargers 2017.
What are those teams have in common? They're
bad.
Not bad teams.
Buffalo's bad, Miami's bad, Baltimore's normally bad.
They're going up against a good team.
Tennessee, they always split one with. Chicago's been bad, and then the Chargers are always on and off, back and forth. So, I mean, he has 7 game-winning drives in 4 years. That's not bad. I think they said Marcus Mariota has 10. I think who was he tied with? He was tied with somebody. I think Case Keenum actually has 7 or 8. So,
it's very scary to let Blake
get behind.
It is. It's like
well, because here I'll give you his stats in all these games and all these comebacks, which in the 7 of them, 1 touchdown, no pick. 2 touchdowns, no pick. 2 touchdowns, 1 pick. 2-1, 1-1, 1-1, 1-2.
So his picks are a little low.
Yeah, it's just 1 a game. The yardage was under,
But when you're down 14,
yeah, I mean,
not throw picks.
Again, these are bad teams that he was probably down by 7 or 3. So, Blake is not a.
They need to stay on top.
If Jacksonville leads at any point in the game, they have a shot at winning. So
yes, they need to stay above.
We all know how it is. Everyone around here watches Jacksonville. There's some that are going overboard with how great they think they are. But everybody, name me one good team they have beaten last year and this year, but if you just rule the Steelers out. Because I know they've beat them twice last year. They beat New England.
Okay. That's it?
You can say they beat the Chargers last year, but
Chargers weren't that good last year.
So, I mean, I'd have to legitimately look at the schedule to 100% say that. But there's just no, key wins on my mind,
Well, yeah, you think of it. It's the Patriots and the Steelers.
So, which if they played the Chargers last year, they play the Chargers every year anymore.
I think they play them twice this year.
Who, the Chargers? No, you can't do that.
No?
No.
I thought they played the Chargers twice. I must have read the schedule wrong.
Jacksonville's are 16th in offensive ranking, though. It's not terrible.
No.
The Chiefs are 30th in defense.
Yeah, they're dead last, giving up 30 points a game.
The last meeting, the Chiefs won 19-14.
So your prediction was slowly close.
Yep. So I think about 20. I'll say this. My final answer is 21-14. So I'll just go with a simple score. Chiefs.
Let's go on to other games. Tennessee plays Buffalo.
We should win that game
you should
24-7. I pray to God.
Miami plays Cincy. I think
Cincy should win easily.
Yeah. Baltimore plays Cleveland. I think
Baltimore's gonna blow them out of the water. Baker's gonna.
No. This is gonna be one of my bold predictions. Cleveland's gonna win.
Okay, I respect that you called it the bold prediction because they're calling Baltimore one of the top 3 teams in the league
I understand.
right now. So
that's why
fine.
I say it's a bold prediction.
Yes. Okay. If there's going to be an upset this week, as I look at the games, it would be Cleveland over Baltimore. That'd be the upset if you're going to have one this week.
Green Bay plays Detroit. That's going to be a good game.
It'll be a good game because Detroit can pop, and I think it's in Detroit, right?
Yes.
So, yeah, I mean, I hope they win. I want to see Aaron Rodgers go 2-1 because he's not that good.
Denver plays the Jets. Denver's going to obviously win that one.
Yeah, because they should be hungry after last week, barely losing to the Chiefs.
Another good game. Atlanta plays Pittsburgh.
I don't know if you can call it a good game.
Excuse me?
But it'll be 1-3, 1-2-1. Both teams are pretty much.
This is a crucial game for both of them.
It's a crucial game for both of them because the one that loses is probably going to be out of the playoff race for the rest of the season. I don't care if Le'Veon comes back or not. When you're if you're freaking 1-3-1, that's almost halfway through the season, and you got one win.
It's in Pittsburgh.
Chargers, Oakland. That never know. You never know which Chargers team's going to show up. You don't know which Oakland team's going to show up.
Which Amari Cooper is going to show up for me is kind of the key for me.
Yes. Philly, Minnesota. Philly's not out of the woods. I mean, they lost last week.
Minnesota.
They're 2-2.
Minnesota needs to pick it up.
Minnesota needs the win bad.
They need it
to stay alive, to make all that money they're giving Kirk Cousins worth it.
But okay, Arizona and San Francisco.
Why is it I feel every week Arizona and San Francisco like play each other?
I don't know.
They're the two teams in the entire league that I could give a crap about.
Do you realize San Francisco played really good against the Chargers last week?
Yeah, they did. They only lost by like a point or two.
Isn't that insane?
And Arizona, I think Arizona might be the team that goes over this year. Everyone thought it was going to be Buffalo, but it's going to be Arizona.
Rams play Seattle.
That'll be a good game. It'll, you got Russell Wilson, the only player on that entire team. So the Rams look amazing. But
that's another bold prediction for me.
Rams do give up some points.
I think Seattle's going to win this one. I have a gut feeling.
I hope not. It's in Seattle, so you never know. Stadium's crazy.
The other 1:00 game you missed was the Giants in Carolina.
Is it in?
It's in Carolina.
Carolina won. And then Dallas-Houston's the Sunday night game. I said that Monday night. It's a Sunday night game.
Houston. They're playing Houston.
It's in Houston. Deshaun Watson is at some point going to get back to being electrifying, I think. I pray Lamar Miller scores.
He has a good wide receiving core, too, with Will Fuller and...
Oh, man, both my running backs are playing in that game. That's not good. I hope it's like a 50-59 game. I need Zeke to do what he did again last week and just go crazy.
Dallas needs this one, too.
Yeah, because that'll put them, if they win, they'll... Because I guess them and the Eagles are tied right now.
Yeah.
So, and then you have... Well, I think Washington's 2-2 also.
Are they?
Yeah. So that whole division's just average. But they play Washington... Or they played New Orleans, so Washington will probably – it's in New Orleans too, so that will probably be that.
Washington.
So it looks to me like, at least in my eyes, the Rams and the Chiefs will be the only teams to remain undefeated.
I think the Rams are going to lose this one. I don't think they can keep it up with Seattle.
Well, Seattle Seattle barely beat Arizona last week.
Yeah, well.
And Arizona's 0-4, so – we'll see. I mean, all they have is Russell Wilson. I mean, Doug Baldwin might play. I don't know.
I say the Chiefs and the Jacksonville game is going to be good. I think the Atlanta-Pittsburgh game is going to be good because both teams need to win it.
It'll probably be a high-scoring game. I mean,
agreed.
So,
I don't see any other interesting games. Maybe the Minnesota-Philly games are going to be okay.
Yeah, there's a chance for a couple blowouts this week. I mean, Tennessee could blow Buffalo out. Carolina could blow the Giants out. Cincy could blow Miami out. Baltimore could blow Cleveland out, but I don't really know.
I think you're going to see the Cleveland win this
Green
game.
Bay could blow the Detroit out. I mean, that's 4 or 5 blowouts that I could possibly see. Dallas could blow Houston out because Houston hasn't done anything.
That's in Houston. You can never count out Houston playing at home.
Well, I always feel that, the home team just always has the upper hand, regardless of who it is. But, so we'll see.
That's week 5.
Week 5, every week will be interesting. The season's flying by too.
Yeah, it's already the 5th week.
I mean, we're quarter of the way through now. So,
NBA news. There's not a lot. It's still preseason. They play in 2 weeks.
Yeah, we can have something like that.
Only key topics here is Miami's still in trade talks with Minnesota heavily with Jimmy Butler. Obviously. Tom Thibodeau wants Butler to stay, But on the other side, Miami still needs to put up the numbers to get Butler. So
yeah, I mean, that's all Butler cares about at this point is money.
Kyrie Irving announced that he's planning on staying with the Celtics at the end of the season.
Yep, he said, if, you'll have me, I'll stay. And I think all the Knicks fans kind of started crying because everyone could have swore that he's going to come to the Knicks after next season.
But he has a good team with the Celtics,
That's what I'm saying. It's at this point, are you chasing rings or are you chasing money?
Yeah, what is it?
You want money, go to the Knicks and they'll pay you. You want a ring, stay where you're at, where you have a bunch of young talent around. You are a young talent, and you have even more young talent behind you. If that Celtics team stays together, they could be good for like 8 years. Like, just think about it. If somehow LeBron or even the Thunder face Golden State in the second round or first round and beat them somehow, the whole freaking world is open because the Celtics have the best chance to go in the East. So if someone knocks Golden State off, you know you're going to the finals in the East. Who's going to come play you in the West? I think that Celtics team could beat anyone in the West right now other than the Warriors.
I think the Celtics have a good chance. Now, being a Warriors fan, I'm always going to say Golden State's going to
win.
Well,
Golden State's going to win the title. Everyone knows that. But if something happens, I mean...
Here's the thing. I want to hop on this real quick. You have 3 years left on Curry's contract. Durant has a player option at the end of the season. Cousins is an unrestricted free agent next season. Klay Thompson's an unrestricted free agent. Draymond Green still has a whole another year on his contract. That team eventually, I think next season that team's going to fall apart.
Well, everyone's saying this is the last year. Clay's loyal. Clay will resign. DeMarcus, depending on how this year goes.
No, he ain't playing until halfway through because he's still dealing with his Achilles.
It really doesn't matter with him. He's just going to be someone in the playoffs that helps him out. Clay's obviously got 3 more. Draymond will re-up. The one that's going to break it up would be Kevin. If he were to go join LeBron or go join Kawhi or go join whoever it is.
Okay, this is a really weird scenario, but what if he goes back to the Thunder? It'll never happen. But
no, I think him and Westbrook get into a fist fight.
But just think about it. The Warriors, this is the last chance, almost with a guaranteed title.
Yeah, I mean, they could get 4 and 5 years right here, and that would be... I don't know if we've ever seen anybody even do that, have we? Other than like back in probably the 60s.
Yeah. The Lakers look strong.
They look good. I've loved me some Brandon Ingram for the last 2 years.
Dropped 31 points last night.
Yeah, he hasn't been great because the Lakers haven't been great, but he's big and he is lanky. He's quiet. I think he's the best young guy on that team. And he did. I was watching the game. I watched a little bit of the game. I don't know if it was last night or whenever it was. And then I was watching just some of the highlights of it today, and I'm like, he just looks. I know they were playing the Kings.
Yeah, they were playing the Kings,
but he still was just balling.
Who do you think their starting rotation is going to be? Because it's still on the fence.
I think it's going to be Braun, Kuzma, McGee, Lonzo, and then
that's it.
Lance is playing well, so I could see if they started Lance over Ingram.
I think Lance is going to be on the second team.
I think it's one of those things where in the beginning of the year you have to start your young guys because they've been there. You owe them that.
And rest your veterans.
But you go 3-4 weeks into the season and you guys are struggling, and Lonzo's shot still looks like a wounded duck, and Brandon doesn't play well, and Kuzma is too busy making rap videos. Then you're like, hey, you guys don't want to tighten up. We're going to put in Michael Beasley and Rondo and Livingston, and we're going to go with this. But yes, they should play their young guys all year long. And those veterans you brought in are there for playoff help, playoff knowledge. Imagine if the Lakers got to the finals against the Celtics. Rondo would be like, I'm starting. I don't care what y'all think. I'm starting.
That would be an interesting finals to think about it.
Yeah, because LeBron...
Renew that rivalry, and you have Kyrie, Hayward, Jaylen Brown, Al Horford going up against Braun, Rondo, Lance probably. Kuzma,
Lonzo.
That would be an interesting series.
Well, and here's the thing: if LeBron gets to the finals, he's going to win because he owns the East. He said, "Okay, I'm tired of winning and beating all these East teams, getting to the West and getting crushed. I'm going to go to the West, and if I can get through the West, because then you have a hope that someone knocks off those hard teams. You get to the finals, you're going to be like, well, yep, I'm going to beat you guys. This team's actually probably going to be a little bit better than what I had when I beat you guys. Like this team right now, the young talent they have." Like, if you could, I'm going to buy 2K, and I'm going to go back in time, and I'll do like the 20 when LeBron won the title, like 2016, 15, with Cleveland. I think it was 2015, whatever it was.
I thought it was 16.
Might have been 16, whatever season that was. I'm gonna take that team, and I'm gonna play against the Lakers now, and I think they would win. I think the Lakers would win, because, other than Kyrie and LeBron in Cleveland. That was the team. Everyone else were role players. Well, now you have LeBron, and he has role players that have way more. I don't want to say talent because, his
Rondo's still good.
Rondo can play good. I believe McGee is actually a lot better. People give him credit for.
Oh, he balled in Golden State.
I don't know if Michael Beasley has anything left. He might. I couldn't tell you.
I don't think I've watched Michael
Livingston is just. He's just that like energy.
Livingston. Who's Livingston?
Stevenson. Stevenson is that guy that's just like you want him on your side because he's loud, he's obnoxious, and he's gonna like get in people's face. But it brings energy. Like, did you watch any of the game? Like, he did some stupid little like
twirl.
Yeah, he passed it and twirled, and then like he got fouled and made a bucket. And
but
like,
it's interesting to watch
like
because
Vince McMahon walked off and the crowd went crazy. So he definitely feeds in. Now there is a bad side to Lance. You know, we've all seen his bad side and how he plays bad and gets attitude. So that team is, with all the personalities on that Lakers team, they're going to be the most talked about team.
Like 3 personalities.
Listen, if LeBron wasn't on that team, they'd still be pretty freaking talked about because of all the personalities they have. So again, I don't think the Lakers do anything crazy.
They do have a hard time in the West, though.
Yeah, I think they get the 6 or 7 seed, and I hate to say it, but you know they more than likely get knocked out before they reach the finals. I don't know what round it would be, because even if LeBron plays like a monster, and if you go up against Golden State in the second round because you're the 6th seed or something,
if they get the 7th seed,
well then they have to play them.
Yes.
That would be crazy. Them in the first round, though.
I think once Houston gets a handle with what they're going to do with Melo, I think Houston is going to possibly get the 1st seed, and I think Golden State's going to fall to the 2nd seed.
Yeah, well, like I said, you know, they did lose a little bit. They're not going to be as good as last year, but there's really no one to knock them off of the 2. So, I mean, I don't think the Thunder do it. The Spurs aren't any good. The Grizzlies aren't any. Well, the Spurs are going to be okay. The Grizzlies aren't good.
The Grizzlies are a sleeper team because they still have Mike Conley, and they still have
the Pelicans any good?
Oh yes,
they have Anthony Davis still, right?
Yeah, which it was sad to see DeMarcus Lee because him and Anthony Davis were like monsters.
Yeah, they're just giant dudes. But I mean, like you said, DeMarcus ain't gonna play for the first half of the season anyway, so not like it really would have helped them that much early. So, if anyone cares, I'm not gonna watch it because I'm too cheap. But the McGregor Khabib fight is this Saturday. Tomorrow, UFC 229, Conor's first fight since Floyd Mayweather beat the crap out of him.
I thought he fought last night.
No, they fight tonight. It's always on Saturday nights. Or tomorrow night. It's always Saturday nights. Khabib is the lightweight champ, so they're putting that belt on the line. The whole promo, talking BS, it's all...
I think he showed up late to his press conference.
Yeah, it's all paid off. I mean, I bought into it with the whole Mayweather thing. But then about halfway through it, I was like, this is stupid. Like, no one throws money at another grown man. Like, so it's all paid for. I saw one with him and Khabib. And then Conor is the only white dude in the world that's allowed to be openly racist on TV, and no one cares.
Really?
Like, he called Floyd Mayweather a freaking monkey on TV, and no one cared. And then he was making fun of the Khabib dude's accent and one of the conferences because he's like a Middle Eastern. So I don't even know what he is.
He's probably Middle Eastern.
Yeah. But Conor McGregor is the only white male in the world who can just openly be racist. Well, and the world's like, ha, McGregor, God, I love you, you Irishman. Like, could you imagine if anyone in any other sport said anything like that? They would be dropped. Mayweather. They would be dropped, no sponsors, never play again, never fight again, never be on TV, never allowed to talk again. They'd get beat up, mobbed, put in jail, fined. But no, because it's Conor McGregor, and that's just who he is, he's allowed. That's so stupid.
They made a good point. I didn't think about it.
So hopefully he gets the crap beat out of him because that Khabib dude is a wrestler, and as soon as he gets McGregor on the ground, it's going to be over.
It's going to be a 3-round fight.
So all the Conor fanboys, like...
Because they play 5 rounds? They fight 5 rounds?
Championship bouts, I think, are...
It's not boxing, so it's not 10.
No, I think... Yeah, I think it's 5 in UFC for championship bouts.
I could see you going 3 rounds. Because you got to figure this is his first fight.
Well, this is the same type of dude. Like, remember when he threw the chair at the bus and all that BS months ago, and he got arrested?
It was a stunt.
Yeah, I know. It's all fake. It's stupid. Only thing not fake about the UFC is the actual fighting itself.
He should go play for the WWE.
He should follow Ronda Rousey and go over. He probably will when he gets done.
Can you imagine him on?
But he did just sign like a 5-fight contract or something.
It's a 5-fight contract.
I'm not gonna call him old because in fighting you retire early. But God, you have so much money.
A lot of money.
Like how? Why do you want to go fight for just what is this fight even for? Like $10 million? He just made like 90 with McGregor or something. Or with Mayweather. So I don't know. And that was it's been 2 years since he fought anybody.
I thought wasn't it last? No.
It's been 2 years since he fought.
Has it been 2 years already?
Mm-hmm.
Holy crap. I feel like I just saw that fight too.
I know. I went to a party on Crescent Beach and they projected it on the wall. It's pretty sweet.
Just to wrap this up, his personality would be interesting to see in the WWE. Can you imagine?
Oh, because he can talk. He would be great.
Oh, he would be like a superstar over there.
Yeah, no doubt. And I'm not knocking McGregor as a fighter either. He's a great fighter. He's just so fake.
He should go to WrestleMania and fight The Undertaker.
Yeah, because he would just keep talking and like walking in his little. Could you imagine? Because Connor's only like, I don't know if he's 6 foot, but could you imagine him like walking around the Undertaker? Because the Undertaker's like 7 foot tall. He'd be looking at him, just, hey, you, look at me.
I'd actually pay to see that.
So right. But okay, if you listened today, we appreciate it. Thank you. We had Will.
A ton of topics.
Yeah, we went over an hour today. It was a good show. We'll probably chop this up for you guys. But we had Will Brown on today.
Talked some high school football.
Talked a lot of high school football. Went through the rankings and what he expects from the rest of the teams in the county. We stayed pretty local. Learned a few things about the playoff system that we forgot. Yeah. And he's a real knowledgeable guy. We just met, so he's really cool. Works for the St. Augustine Record. So if you follow him on Twitter, I think it said his Twitter handle was at WWBrown19.
Blue shirt, red tie.
Yeah. He I follow him on Twitter. His whole page is local. It's not just football, it's swimming, golf, all the local high school sports. So really good guy to follow. And if you liked our show, please rate us. Please go on iTunes and give us a rating. 5 stars, 4 stars. I don't care. You can go 1 star. Just give us some ratings so we can get recognized. We're trying to get on the charts. Follow us on SoundCloud, YouTube, our website, Facebook, Instagram, anything.
Google, if you have Android. We're on Google Podcast.
Oh, are we?
Yeah,
I don't have an Android, so I wouldn't
I'm
know.
just saying, Android users, you can find us on Google Play.
Okay. So, that's a good show. I like that. That was a good long one. We covered a lot today. So
yeah. Baseball, soccer, baseball, football.
Baseball is going to get interesting as the day goes on, as the game is about to start off here in about 45 minutes. NFL Week 5, going to be a good one. Jacksonville Chiefs, Atlanta Pitt, Indy and Colts played last night. That was a great game. And like I said, if you guys want to watch the fight this weekend, Saturday night, I think it's like $60 to buy it or $80 normally.
You just go to a sports bar; they'll have it.
Yeah, you got to get there like 4 hours early and pay a $10 cover charge. So, all right, guys, we appreciate the listen, and
we'll be back.
Please hit us up, give us some comments, feedback, talk to us.
Tuesday, I think I'll come back.
Yeah, Tuesday we'll just do a weekend recap like we have been. So appreciate it, and thank you guys.
See ya.